Welcome to the BrightWord Books Podcast. BrightWord is a leading platform for diverse storytelling, where voices from all backgrounds can share their unique narratives and connect with readers from around the world. Follow our regular podcast updates, where we strive to foster a literary community that celebrates creativity, inclusivity, and the transformative power of literature. Welcome to the BrightWord Books Podcast. I'm John Lobb, and today another intriguing episode. For those who have been through it, they know for sure, divorce isn't just a legal process. It's an emotional, financial, and deeply personal storm. In Before the Tsunami, Dr. Roger Avila provides a raw, honest, and eye-opening guide designed to help readers prepare for, survive, and perhaps most importantly, recover from one of life's most devastating events. Drawing from his own experience and insights gathered from countless conversations, Dr. Avila blends personal narrative, practical advice, and hard truths designed to illuminate the realities of modern divorce, covering everything from emotional preparation, financial protection to co-parenting, social media, and toxic legal tactics. The book aims to arm readers with the knowledge to face the storm and come out stronger. Dr. Avila, welcome back to the podcast. We're so pleased to have you with us again.
Thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely. So, since you were last on, have you received any new feedback or ideas from readers that have given you any new thoughts regarding the book or the work?
Yes, of course. I had someone actually knocking on my door the other day, one of the office's door, and we didn't know this individual. And one of my receptionists goes to me and she says, "There's someone who wants to see you, but he's not a patient." I said, "Okay." So tell him to come into my private office. And the guy, all he wanted to do was just to say thank you. And I say,
Oh,
"Thank you for what?"
wonderful.
He goes, "Oh, I actually bought your book and I read it, and I think you saved me." And he walked away. That's it.
Wow. You saved me. It sounds like if you had no other feedback whatsoever, that one response makes it all worthwhile.
Awesome. As you feel that accomplishment because the book was for my kids, but if I can save one more person, I'm okay with it.
Absolutely. Boy, what a testimonial. That's great. Have you had any experiences like that have that made you think of things or of the book in a new light? Has anybody changed your mind about anything that you wrote, in other words?
Yes, of course. I I also had a woman sharing her experience where her husband walked out of her life, leaving behind two kids, one 8 years old, one 4 years old, moved out of the province, married someone younger, 15 years old, and left them in a shelter. So that was devastating. Listening to something like that is devastating. Of course, this book is not it wasn't written for the deadbeat. It was written for the financially stable individual.
Got it. Got it. Going through the process yourself, was there a point at which you felt like you had finally gotten to the point where you could see the path ahead and recover as an individual?
Well, basically, when you realize that there's, there's nothing you can do, it is the law, and you just have to deal with it. So it's better to get into the process protected than just going there blindly.
Got it. Got it. If you could go back and speak to yourself during that process or even before the process, what could you say to yourself that you weren't prepared to hear back then?
Protect yourself at all costs. At the end, it's all about money.
Do you think that's maybe the number one driver of divorce is financial stress?
Well, the thing is that behind a divorce, there's a machinery very well oiled, starting with the lawyers, with the bank, with the real estate agents, with the family will benefit from it. Everyone benefits from a divorce, but the person is actually going through the divorce and paying for the divorce. Now, let's say you live in a beautiful home and you split, now you need two houses. Who's going to benefit? The real estate agent, the housing market, the banks. You get it? So if you are audited, now the auditor will get paid to do an audit on you. That's a new client. Now, if they're not happy with that audit, they're going to hire a forensic auditor. Now, another individual is benefiting from this divorce. So it's a chain reaction. Once you hire a lawyer, you all you did was to start a domino effect where everyone will make money from your demise.
Wow. Wow, that's a sobering thought.
Yes,
It's an expensive process, in other words.
it is.
Wow. What would you say to folks? They talk about the key to marriage is communication. What do you say about communication as it relates to marriage or divorce? Do people just stop talking? Is that part of it, or is that not the whole answer?
No, I think people become really enraged, really upset, really revengeful, really vindictive. To the point of trying to put that guy or that woman in jail, trying to destroy them. Oh, you leaving me? You just wait and see what's going to happen. And the law is going to help me put you behind bars. That's the approach that I don't like. And the law actually supports it.
You've talked about the legal system challenges. Is that there's a thought perhaps that the legal system is unfair to men at times. In other words, the divorcing husband has a tougher time than the divorcing wife. That there's a thought that she and the kids need to be protected. Do you find that that's the truth? And is it unfair?
100%. We always assume that the guy is a bad guy, right? It doesn't matter what he did or what she did. In the end, we need to protect these kids. We need to protect this mother. But in the end, seriously think. They say that men have higher rates of murder, right? But who's the one who finishes a pregnancy more often than men? It's women. They have the power to decide when the pregnancy is going to end. If they don't like it, they get rid of it. And if you think about a human being inside of her, she is the murderer. But we don't see that. We don't see that aspect of killing a human being, right? So the law always wants to protect the woman because they see it as the weak gender, I guess. But now we all fight through or for gender equality and legal rights and all that. But when it comes to law, the family law is rigged. It's totally rigged. There need to be changes. Men need to be heard because we're not assassins. We just live in a marriage that is not convenient for us anymore, is not happy for us anymore. And the funny part is that if I leave, I pay. If she leaves, I also pay. Get it? So how is that beneficial? This is why the younger generation of men, especially men that make money, need to be protected and need to be taught that if they're going to embark in this tsunami, they need to have a strong ship to take them through the waves.
It seems as if there's pain all around, but especially for men, you say financially and sometimes looking like quote unquote the bad guy. Um, it's easy to pin that on the man. It's interesting too that the gentleman who came to see you to say thank you was a man. Do you have any idea on readership? Do you know if more men are reading the book than women?
No, I have no idea. I
Okay.
don't know if we have that metrics. I could ask, but I don't know exactly.
And they, I don't know if anybody has it, but it would be interesting to know for sure, for sure. So you
I'm just here
mentioned,
trying I just to enlighten people to say, listen, it's beautiful. Having a family is beautiful. Having a marriage is beautiful. Raising kids together with somebody else is a beautiful thing. But if that comes to an end, which is 56%, 60% sometimes uh, of the times, you need to be protected because you want to move on with somebody else or alone. I know many guys who would never get married again, and they say, I'm just going to date. Many because of financial reason. They say, if I get divorced again, I'll be homeless, right? And in my
right,
book, I
almost like,
actually include percentages of the homeless population that ended up there because of a divorce.
wow, wow, that's a sobering statistic for sure. And it's almost a sad thought to think that somebody would be in a position where they feel like, even if I love a woman or I love a man, I can't afford another divorce. I just can't afford it, or even the possibility. So I'll just date from now on. You mentioned your kids, and not to focus on your family necessarily, but for parents in general, co-parenting, how have your thoughts evolved about co-parenting through this process of researching and writing the book?
Concentrate on them. Concentrate on them. Make it memorable. When you are with them, have a good time. Try to put your thoughts and you believe and what you think about your ex aside. Try not to mention anything. Maybe behind your back they are stabbing you with lies, stabbing you with court orders, but try to put it aside because that's what they're gonna remember. How bitter you were, how sour you were. This is why I tried to put all my thoughts and some of my thoughts actually in this book. There were a lot of things that I didn't write about it, but yeah, they're the most important people in your life, and they will be for a long time.
Absolutely. Children survive the divorce no matter what, good or bad. Was there ever a temptation to try and get them to pick sides, to say, "Hey, you gotta support daddy on this," or she might say, "You gotta support mommy." Do you think that happens?
It happens all the times, and I realize that it doesn't matter how good you are, it doesn't matter how good a provider you are, it doesn't matter the gift, it doesn't matter the trips. If you marry the wrong person, that person will destroy your reputation with society, with the family, with your kids, will make you look like the worst person in the whole world.
Is there anything that you would do differently in relation to your kids through the process that you went through?
No, really. I think I was an amazing dad when I was in the house, and I think I'm still an amazing dad, and um, no, I think I have behaved as decent and as human as anyone could.
They say that divorce can reshape one's personality. Are you a different person? And not to focus repeatedly on you, Dr. Avila, but anyone going through a divorce, are they a different person at the end of that process than when they begin?
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. And one of the main things that happened to me is that now I lack trust. I don't trust people. I don't trust people because when you embark in a marriage where you think you're gonna have a beautiful life, a forever life, until death, no,
Death do us
really,
part.
yeah. And then that happens, and you say, "Wow, I was here 100%. I was here building. I was here investing, and now I'm just taking. I've been taken to the cleaners, and I'm being kicked out of my house. A court order has been set against me, a restraining order. Now I can even approach my kids. It's like, what happened?" Right? I know not everyone is the same, but you have to be cautious next time around because it could happen again.
Wow. You talked about the last time you were with us, you talked about the concept of resilience. Can you talk a little bit more about resilience? What does that mean to you, and how has your idea of resilience changed over time?
You know what? I realized that after everything I went through in life in general, um, and after going through the most devastating uh, process that anyone can go, because yes, you can get cancer, but you're gonna die of cancer. But if you go through a divorce and you're gonna be survive a divorce, it's devastating emotionally, financially, spiritually. Uh, so you have to have some sort of like system behind you, um, reading, writing, journaling, going to the work to the gym, getting a boat, exploring other hobbies that you didn't think you could do, um, and try to survive it. Because the main issue here is that people get desperate in the process and they actually kill themselves. I was reading some stats about Australia. 5 to 6 guys kill themselves weekly. In North America, the numbers are staggering. 1,600 guys die yearly because they can't take it. So if you think about a shark attacks is like 10, 12, 20 in a year. So what's worse, a shark or a divorce process? Think about it,
Wow. Wow.
right?
I hadn't thought about that before, that divorce could be more deadly than shark attacks.
It
I
is
mean,
a
that's
hundred times more.
wow. So the title Before the Tsunami brings to mind, do you think someone who isn't yet married, they're considering getting married, would they benefit from reading the book to kind of prepare themselves for
Everybody asks
marriage?
me the same. Everybody asks me the same, and I take and I actually take a step forward. And every time I listen to someone trying to get married or planning to get married, I say, why don't you read my book? Why don't you just get the audio version? Just get the cheapest version, and just think about it, because you don't know what you're embarking into. You have no idea what you're getting into.
Are they ever insulted? Do they say, I don't need your book, I'm in love?
Well, yeah, of course. That's the first thing they say. No, no, I'm getting married for life. I know who I'm getting married to. He or she is not like that, and I just wish them the best of luck.
Any red flags that you can see in relationships, or maybe you have friends who are dating or people who are just getting married? Is there anything that you can say to yourself, wow, look at that? I worry about them.
Actually, yes, 100%. If that person is vindictive against their employees, co-workers, friends, family members, walk out of there. Walk out of there. She or he will do it to you too. You're not better. You're not special.
Yeah. And perhaps some people, they may have doubts in the back of their mind, and yet they're hoping, well, I'll change them, right? That's a common refrain. I'll change the person. I'll get married and I'll change how they are. And I think oftentimes people learn, guess what? The person that those thoughts that you had, those concerns in the back of your mind, they were there, and maybe they were there for a good reason.
Ignore those red flags because of lust, because of love, whatever it is that they put in their mind. I think love is just a chemical imbalance. That's all it is. Just chemical going through your mind, because if it was a love forever, people would not fall out of love.
Do you have any thoughts on money? Are the super wealthy more inclined to divorce than people who don't have a lot? Or is it just all levels of society, all levels of wealth?
I'll be honest with you. I think the wealthier divorce less. I would have to do a research, but I think the wealthier divorce less for many reasons. One of them is because they don't want to transfer that wealth to a new last name. Get it? So why they want to keep it all in the family, and they say, you know what, we're gonna weather this storm, and our kids will be able to keep all this wealth in the future. But if
So
you if
perhaps
you only have a knife and forks and chopsticks, what do you have to lose? Nothing.
good point. Good point. And perhaps in a sense, it's horrible to say it, but maybe their love of their money, their love of their wealth is greater than the love for the person they're with, but they'll stick with it just to keep the wealth.
Yeah, I think they compromise and they say, you know what, we're gonna have an open relationship, or I don't care who you sleep with, but this marriage is gonna be dissolved. Our kids matter more than anyone else.
You mentioned a while ago about things that you did not include in the book. Anything in particular that comes to mind that you did not include that you wish you had?
You know what? It's funny that you mentioned that, because I have I recently talked to someone who was going through the same process, and he was married before. He had two kids. He was paying child support for that person. Then he remarried, right? But this new person had two kids, right? 6 years later, he's going through a divorce, and guess what? Now he's liable for child support for two kids that are not his.
That gets expensive.
So now this woman is taking two child supports from the previous husband and from this individual. How is that fair? Get it? It's
Wow.
the law that needs to change.
Interesting. I wasn't aware of that. Do you know if the amounts are split between the exes or they're both paying full child support?
No, I have no details about it.
Okay. Okay. Wow. That would be a very tough position to be in for sure.
Yeah,
What is next for you, Dr. Avila? Do you have another book in your mind?
I'm actually writing another book. And it's gender neutral, and it will have a lot of inside information about LGBTQ community and the law. I think it's the law that needs to change because humans are not going to change. It's simple. We are who we are. The law needs to change, and we need to stop assuming that the weaker gender is the one that needs to benefit from everything. Because now we don't have weaker genders. We are all the same. So
We're all
why is the
human
law not
beings.
changing?
We're all human beings.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Interesting. Will that focus on divorce or is it relationships in general?
No, I think it will be based on the family law divorce. Yeah, yeah.
Got it.
About that specific topic.
Got it. And I know, I'm not sure if you're in California or Texas, but family law does differ by state. Do you find that that makes a big impact on people depending on where they're divorcing?
Yeah, well, I'm actually in Canada, in Ontario,
Oh, okay.
right, in Toronto. But no, I don't know. I don't know the law. I just know the problem.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And you know that something's not working
Something is
in
not
the
working.
process.
Something is not working, and we're destroying men, mainly men.
If there was one thing that a reader takes away from your book, Dr. Avila, just one thing they would pick up from the entire book, what would you hope they take away from it?
The longer you take to make a decision, the richer your partner is becoming. At least in Canada, I don't know in the US, because it's based on the amount of years that you're together, right? So make a decision quick. In my book, I also talk about timelines. If you have kids, I would say give it a year, see if it works, if it's working, see if it's going to work. If you don't have kids and you love this person, give them 6 months. Get out of there. Get out of there because you're just staring at a closed door, and maybe behind you there are many open doors. What are you doing staring at a closed door? Live your life, enjoy it. It's so short for so many, for so many, right? I just lost my friend, 38 years old of cancer, right? He was also planning to have a life, to have a kid, and all that. He couldn't even do that, right? So enjoy life because you don't know what's coming tomorrow.
Absolutely. Well, that would be true for all of us, I think. A true statement for all that none of us knows what's coming tomorrow. Sounds like, especially if you know you're trapped in an unhealthy relationship, waiting, it costs you perhaps dollars and cents, but it also costs you years of your life, right?
The biggest regret of everyone that I have spoken to is I waited too long, including me.
Wow. Couldn't get themselves to act and lost time of their life and lost money out of their pocket. Well, Dr. Avila, it's been a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much for joining us again. I would urge all of our readers, whether you're in the contemplating a divorce or even just contemplating marriage and want to make sure that you cover all the bases. Before the Tsunami is the name of the book, and I'm sure it's available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and everywhere fine books are sold. Thank you so much for being with us today on the BrightWord Books Podcast, and we'll see you on the next episode. You've been listening to the BrightWord Books Podcast, home of the literary community that celebrates creativity, inclusivity, and the transformative power of literature. Don't forget to subscribe so you'll never miss future episodes. Until next time, stay informed and stay engaged.